let's talk flying private. Most people think the ultimate flex. Hop in a private jet, taking off when you want, landing where you want. They ain't gotta go through TSA, don't have to do nothing. But is the price of the private jet worth the experience you get? Probably not. If you want a private jet, you got like a bunch of options. You can either go with a light-sized jet, you can go with a mid-sized jet, or you can go with a heavy jet, depending on what your needs are, how far you gotta go, how many people you gotta carry. Each of these jets range in price from $1 million to nearly $100 million, so you don't really know what you're getting into until you choose your model. But one thing that stays constant no matter the price is the maintenance. Operating costs over a typical ownership period usually add roughly 60 to 70% of the cost of the aircraft to your total cost. You gotta pay for things like crew salaries, maintenance fees, hangars, insurance, fuel, the list goes on and on. For this illustration, we're gonna use the Bombardier Global 7500, one of the top choices for the wealthiest of the wealthy. This jet has a sticker price of roughly $75 million brand new, which means that everything that goes along with it is going to be even more expensive. It's estimated that you can spend nearly $500,000 a year on crew salaries alone, another $250,000 on hangar fees, another $500,000 on maintenance, and another $100,000 on insurance. These are all yearly costs, which means that at the end of the year, you got to do it all over again. And all of these fees can't actually get you anywhere without some fuel. The Bombardier Global 7500 burns 501 gallons of jet fuel per hour. At the time of recording, the average price for Jet A in America is $7.18. This means that you would be spending roughly $3,600 every hour you're flying, just on fuel. A round-trip flight from New York to LA costs you roughly $300 to $500. Even first class only costs about $1,500. That same trip in your Bombardier Global 7500 would cost you nearly $30,000 in fuel alone. So after you bought the plane, you paid for the crew, you paid for the maintenance, you paid for the fuel, you're going to turn around and sell it for more money, right? Absolutely not. Planes depreciate just like any other vehicle, except they do it slightly slower. While there is a steep drop-off after the first initial year, planes usually steady out and hold their value relatively well over the course of 10 to 15 years. So after all this, you're probably like, why does anyone own one? Well, there are a few upsides. First off, people who are worth so much money that their time is more valuable than the money they lose by flying private. This may be top CEOs, famous celebrities, the people you see posted on their Instagram that have private jets. Those people may be actually saving money in the long run because of how much they're worth. It may seem crazy to think that people can actually save money by owning a private jet. But if your time is worth more money than you spend on that plane per hour, then you're actually making money. Now, if you're wondering, how do these Instagram influencers and TikTokers show all their private jets? Well, here's the trick. They don't own those jets. They're just chartering them for a couple $1,000s an hour. While that's still a lot of money, it doesn't even come close to the millions you'll spend if you actually owned it. So if you want to buy a private jet, be willing to spend way more money than you ever thought. And if you ever just want to look cool, save up a couple thousand and you can go charter one.